what their opponents are going to be, and this makes the preference equalize, which is more fair. Then you can see that fairness is a voting issue, and it comes first. Even if you don't buy that, if the fairness debate is a wash, you should vote on the academic integrity independent voter, which he can see the second voting issue. I read that debate would literally dissolve without academic integrity because there would be no mutual trust in order to have debates in the first place. And you can see that my interpretation is key to academic integrity because in that it's impossible to see what's on the wiki and know what cards have been miscut or what evidence has been read sketchily, which means that I control the large internally the academic integrity, which comes which they argue. You can see that comes before the fairness argument. This is the counterinterpretation proper. First, the BS argument is damn A-frames. It controls the internal to all his offense. It means that preferences are literally inevitable. There's nothing you can do about it because that will always hit people for flows. This is terminal defense on all of your arguments. But on the small score argument too, it's more beneficial for small schools if they can have a scribble prep. That is the BS argument. Next in the disclosure key to argument one, you haven't weighed this argument, and I have reason my fairness first. You only contextualize this in terms of education. Two, it's not there's still plenty of non-unique because there's plenty of in-round disclosure or in-round argumentation. For example, if we're doing a theory debate, or we still have to do weighing and analysis, which means that there's always going to be some amount of education. Third, you have no bright line for how much is enough education. In other words, why can we get education from other how are we going to know that we have enough education? Four, no, we can always get he can see the reversibility weighing, which means that we can always get education from doing things like rebuttal redos and learning how to do in-round engagement in worlds where we don't have access to those arguments. This is about it. And then the topical standard, he just contextualizes in terms of education, but then he says the hyper-specific prep is a bad thing. No, turn, this leads to better research and less and more in-depth research and developing of research skills. Even if you think education is important, research skills, that way your arguments on portability, it's not just about topic education, but you're going to figure out eventually the ability to research them and think about the world in nuanced ways. It's going to be more applicable in college and academia. So this is more real world. And if we care about education, we should prefer those kind of real world impacts. Then he said there's no research incentive that people are going to steal prep, but this is inevitable because people are still going to have access to people's flows and judges and teachers. So it's a question of whether or not big schools can steal prep or big and small schools can also steal prep, which means that you don't give access to that argument. Then he says that disclosure theory violation of non-verifiable. Couple arguments here. One, no, it is verifiable. I have a screenshot of your wiki. Two, the fact that it's not verifiable, you can just gut check this. The spirit over text is more important because it means that we will have it means that we will actually create better norms in the future. We shouldn't focus based on marginal, infinitely regressive elements of what is or isn't in interpretation, rather what broadly creates the best norms for debate. Third, and then that's fine. Then on the counter-interpretation proper, he says debaters may refrain from disclosing the case in all instances except plain text, but he did not disclose a plain text. He does not have a wiki, which means that he does not even meet his own counter-interpretation in the first place. Next in the underview arguments. He's not going for any arguments here. He just accepted a bunch of unweighed side-by-side impacts, but he concedes the argument about perceptions, why this outweighs your arguments. Even if you were losing on times you, you're still able to induce the judge to vote for you and ignore the times you issues on the flow, which outweighs on magnitude. So if anything the side-by-side flow is negative, you should definitely err neg on the theory arguments. Also, this is an independent net benefit to my shell because as far as it makes affirming harder, that is a good thing because strategy flows negative or side-by-side flows negative.
be very briefly on the underview, and then theory. Is ironic.
No. Yep.
Oh, where not, did you?
The last part, the negative burden.
Okay.
Okay.
So my opponent never responds to how the negative burden has the burden to negate against national service being good as a whole, since national service is something that the United States ought to do in the resolution, because he concedes to this burden, but however he does not advocate for how national service is something that the United States ought to do in the resolution. So because of this, you can't look to any of his neg arguments, because he concedes that this is what he has to do in the burden structure, but he doesn't follow through on this. So you can't look to he has literally no offense in this round. So just so you can disregard all of his offense except for theory, and you can extend my presumption arguments for time scales to independent reasons to affirm if it comes down to that. So now theory. So I concede to fairness being the primary voting issue. However, disclosure theory is unfair to small schools, because small schools aren't able to aren't able to prep out so well. But once round comes out, well, everyone's going to have their cases disclosed on the wiki. There will be a limited amount of time for everyone to prep out for schools. However, large schools with lots of coaches will be able to prep out. Will be able to prep out these Fs and have red blocks in terms of them. But debaters who do not have that won't be able to prep out as much. That's an infinite. It's always going to be, if cases are always required to be disclosed, then large schools are always going to have this advantage. Versus his argument that debaters are going to share flows, whereas versus everyone disclosing. However, debaters who are sharing flows, this is only going to happen sometimes. Not everyone is going to be hit against every other person. However, you can look to how. You can look to how if you're disclosing, everyone is 100% going to have to disclose. So there will always be the ability for large schools to prep out, but so this outweighs on scope, because more people will be affected by this unfair practice, and it's going to deter people from reading theory in the future. So you can. Whereas in his case, if a lot of debaters have flows, then you will then this will only happen sometimes. So even if there is abuse, it will happen less often. On his academic integrity argument. About how this is needed to be very valuable. However, this is just going to burden small schools more, because large schools will be able to check against the academic integrity quicker. However, small schools won't be able to prep this out as much. So large school debaters still could read arguments that are academically integrated, but the small schools won't be able to check out for this, because they won't have as much coaches to look into these arguments. So his theory shell is unfair in this way. How much time?
30 seconds.
Okay. So he concedes that fairness is the highest layer of the round. So you have to look to his shell being fair, and you can't look to no RVI arguments, because this is an RVI to independent reasons to vote at. So you have to vote out because the disclosure theory is unfair. It outweighs on scope and magnitude, because it's the same abuse of prep out as he's been talking about. So you can't look to his magnitude argument, but you can look to. You can look to an outweighing on scope, because more people will be impacted by this unfair practice. He doesn't respond to, he agrees that everyone will be able to do it specifically, versus only happening sometimes. So you can look to that. You can also okay. Alright, so vote out. Yeah, forgot to click the timer.
That happens all the time.